This time I have this rugged access point from Wavlink, and I'm going to put it up there. So this is the Wavlink AX3000, which sounds like something out of an old RoboCop movie, but I'll take it. This is a super rugged outdoor access point, and I'm going to install it on the pole in just a second. But the reason I want it here is, one, I have a free pole to put stuff on. There's only a TV antenna currently. But in front of us here is a huge paddock that has sort of meh Wi-Fi, average Wi-Fi. And I'm hoping this might solve some of that. I also want to test a non-Unifi access point on the Unifi network, which could be interesting. I'm not sure what's going to happen if I'm honest, but we'll see. And see if we can get that working all nicely together. And then, of course, it is very rugged. Like I said, this is an IP67 rated access point, which is when you look up IP, this is, you can put it in water, basically. You can submerge it and it still works. So I'm like, okay. Challenge accepted. No, I won't do that, but it is going to be out here where there's a lot of sun, a lot of rain, a lot of wind, a lot of everything, dust especially from, you know, the llamas. They do dust baths. So I'm going to take it out of the box and see what we have. There's these massive antennas as well, a whole lot of good stuff, and it has a few party tricks, which I'll get to a bit later as well. So let's take it out of the box and see what we're dealing with. All right, let's get everything out the box. There's a whole lot. See, you can do all these pictures as well. It's amazing. It is just an access point. All right, we got a big cardboard box here. Let's see. All right. Okay, it's reasonably big. I don't know if it comes across on camera, but that's a decent size access point. It's not very heavy. Here's where you connect it with PoE. And there's obviously a grommet somewhere that, you know, you make this watertight. And then you have, what else you got? Mount here. We're going to put this on a pole, so that seems like there's a little bit of a pole-ish there. And of course we have the 4 antennas. So there's 2.4G, those two, and those two are 5G antenna connectors. So let's have a look at the antennas because they're kind of neat. And they are up here. Nicely packaged. I like this. It's not going to fall apart. So we got 4 antennas. That's it. And these are huge. They're massive. And there's a reason they're huge, and I'll get to that a little bit later. No, 2.4 it says there. Might not be able to see it. But these are fiberglass reinforced plastic antennas or something. They feel solid. Really, wow. Yeah, okay. So there's 4 of those. Right, so 4 of those, and obviously we're going to put those on top, so it's going to look like that. Well, like the picture, right? And then there's this. What are these? I'm not sure what these are. I guess we'll figure that one out. And then we have some accessories. Oh, there's a whole bunch in here, okay. I've got my mat prepared earlier here. Let's see what's in it. There are a power supply. If you want to not use, if you don't have PoE, you can use this PoE adapter where this plugs in. So this is a, you know, power supply, and then you plug in your data connection there, and then you get PoE out of this. We're not going to use that, but that is there. And then here we have all the watertight grommet stuff and mounting stuff. So this is the grommet that we're going to put at the bottom here with the cable through. And then we have some screws and stuff for wall mounting, okay? And a Wavlink branded spanner, which goes with the spanner that's installing this brilliantly. And then we have some double-sided tape pads, I think, 3M, double-coated tissue tape. They're solid, like these are heavy. Okay, very good. And of course, a Cat6 cable, which we're not going to use either, but they provide one, which is nice. Okay, that's it. So next step is to install it on the pole, which is there. I'm up a pole. I'm going to put that here, sort of pointing that way up the paddock hill. That's the thought. First step obviously is to not drop it, is to put these silicon double-sided amazing pads on here. They're probably needed, almost dropped it. They probably need it to hold the cable ties in place, which are metal, also supplies, which I think is what those metal things were, which is very neat. I've never seen that supplied with an access point. So yeah, so far impressed. So let's put these on. One goes on the unit itself, like so, and then we put one on the pole. That'll do. Oh, this is sticky. Don't get this wrong the first time. This is very sticky. All right, like that. That's on. So this is like a silicon timer. It's sort of a little bit squishy almost, not quite. And there's one on there, so we're gonna now cable tie this on there, and then we'll hook it up. And then I need 3 arms. So that's sort of on. So let's put the antennas on. All right, big antennas. Fiberglass reinforced antennas. I don't know if that's good, but it sounds impressive. So we're gonna make sure we put them in the right place. So 2.4G goes over here, like that. This is really nice. Like I have no experience with Wavelink's access points. I've used their docking stations. This just feels really well built. It's all just neat. All right, that looks kind of impressive. All right, and then of course the last step is to plug in the PoE, which I have prepared earlier. So it is just, you might have seen it earlier in the shot, just below me. And that's obviously going to go up the bottom here with the grommet. So I've got my Cat 6, which provides PoE as well. And I've got the wrench, which is for the grommet. So let's plug that in. And I'll do cable management later, don't worry. We're actually going to put this in conduit because it's not outdoor rated. That's another reason you should watch my video on outdoor versus indoor cabling, which is linked just there. All right, so that is now installed. Yes, a bit of cable management to do, but we'll get to that later. And now I think we're gonna figure out what it actually does. Okay, the AX3000 is on the pole and it's plugged in. Now remember how I said you didn't need the PoE adapter? Well, you do. Apparently it runs on special 54 volt PoE injection goodness. So I did have to use that, which I plugged in inside near my brand new server rack. And if you haven't seen that video, that is worth checking out. It's linked up there. But I am now connected to, as you can see on the phone, the Wavlink access point internet SSID thing. Yeah, so I'm connected directly to it and we're gonna set it up and I'm gonna show you how you can kind of integrate it with my existing Unifi network. It's a bit of a hack, but it kind of works. So first I'm gonna enter your password. By default, that is admin. That is always the default password, it seems. So we log it in, we're gonna change that later. So here we have the first setup for the system. Country or region, I'm gonna choose, what can we choose? Well, let's choose Australia, because that's kind of where we are. Time zone, we are here in, not Brisbane. Okay, it doesn't actually have my time zone. That's unfortunate. I'm just gonna choose Brisbane, which is not correct, because we are on daylight saving and they're not, but sure. Admin password, not less than 6 characters. And then we click next. And then we're gonna give it an SSID. And this is kind of where the hack is. Now, Unifi, when you have a Unifi network controller, you can have 4 SSIDs, right? So you can have 4 different Wi-Fi names that are run out throughout the network. So I have 4 as well. I have one for IoT, I have a guest network, and I have a couple that I use myself for non-IoT devices. We're gonna give it an SSID, and we can only give it 1. And I'm gonna actually give it the IoT network. So IoT, because it's kind of IoT, and then I'm gonna give it the same password as there is on my existing IoT network. So what happens is that the phone's going to be looking for the IoT network, and then if it loses the Unifi connection, it will connect to that instead. So it's not going to be perfect mesh roaming, but it kind of works, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to do that, okay, and we're going to click save on that. If you're connected to the router via Wi-Fi, search for the new setup wireless network name and use the new password to connect and start browsing online. Okay, so we're just going to save that, and then I'm going to try and connect to that IoT and see how confused my phone is. Okay, so now it's done its thing. I'm connected to it via the IP address because it's kind of on my network. So it's been given an IP address just like it's another device, which it works. You know, you can see I've got full Wi-Fi. It's, I'm very strong Wi-Fi, see, because it's got 4 antennas. So we're connected to it. There's a bit of information here. I haven't actually looked at this before, so you're going to come along for the ride. You can see the AP is connected to the internet. CPU usage is 1%. Memory is 57. Sure, I don't know. CPU of 1% doesn't sound like lots, so maybe it's not doing anything. You can see here that our network status, we have an IP address, and our 2.415 gigahertz Wi-Fi is called IoT. So I think it looks like it's not distinguishing between 2.4 and 5, which it was doing before. It had 2 SSIDs being broadcast. I think there's just 1 now. Sure. So that's the dashboard overview. What else we got? We have wireless. All right, yeah, we can see here's the SSID. Enable it to make 2.4 become bands in 1. Okay, so we can split them if we want. There's 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. Okay, and there's advanced. All right, we can change the channel bandwidth, and we can hide the SSID, etc. For each of them, there's some terms I don't know what are. If you know what TWT and MU-OFDMA are, put them down in the comments, because I'd like to learn that, but I don't know currently what that is. Okay, so that's our wireless. Then we have some advanced. Ooh, mode selection. Okay, so this is probably where we can change. It has, so as I mentioned earlier, it has like 4 modes. It's a bit of a party trick. So let's see if that is what it is. Yes. So current mode is AP. This is always what it defaults to, AP mode. We can select though instead to have repeater mode. So this could be repeating another Wi-Fi access point. If that's what you want, that's a bit old school. You can have it as AP mode, which we have. Mesh router mode, if you have 2 of them or more, you can actually mesh them together, just like you do with Unifi network. This one doesn't mesh in with Unifi, which makes sense. You need a controller for that. And then there's a mesh extender mode, which I'm not entirely sure what is. We're gonna keep it in AP mode though. Now, one of the party tricks, and the reason that it has those massive antennas up there, is that if you have 2 of them, it actually has like 5-kilometer range between them. It becomes like a point-to-point link, which is kind of neat. Now I can't test that because I've only got 1, but that is one of the features of it. So that could be useful. All right, so we had advanced, then we have device here, router reboot and lockout. Okay, so that is all that we can do. And here we can change the mode, we can change the SSID. Not a lot of settings, but we don't need a lot of settings. It's an access point, right? So I think now we should test how it actually performs. So yeah, it's behind you is paddocks. Like I don't even know how far that is up there. Maybe 100 meters, 200 meters. I'm not sure. So yeah, let's jump into the testing. Okay, we're at the top of the hill. So the access point is way down there. We are roughly 200 meters away, a bit more, 230, 40 meters from that access point. And I have got Wi-Fi Man open here because that is still my favorite signal investigative tool, you know, finding bandwidths, etc. Right? So I'm on the main screen here, the speed screen, and you can see here that I'm connected to Starlink via my Melwood UDM SE, and the access point is the IoT access point, which is down there. Now, before we just do a speed test and whatnot, have a look at this. If I go to signal, I'm at 69 dBm, roughly. So that's a pretty good signal, even if you were indoors, like not far from the access point. That's not a terrible signal. Like really good is sort of 40, 50. 60, mid-60s, it is totally usable. Now have a look when I go to the scan, which will show me the other SSIDs, which is my existing Unifi equipment, right? Which is the U7 Outdoor, for example. Now, granted, they're not pointing up here as such, so it's not a fair comparison, but still, have a look at this. Llama's in the fast lane, 90 dBm, Last Frontier, 88 dBm, something like that. So that access point is really humming all the way up here. Right, I have a very, very good signal. So let's just try to do a speed test. And we're going to do an advanced test, which means we're going to test the internet speed to Starlink, and we're going to test the internal speed as well, right? So I'm going to click here, start. Latency should be about 30. That's about what Starlink is here. There you go, 31, wasn't too far off. And then we have the download speed. That varies wildly. If you have any experience with Starlink, you'll know this. Sometimes I get 300, sometimes I get 70. But 144 is totally acceptable, especially in the middle of nowhere here. Upload, 5, 6, yeah, sometimes that's even 2, sometimes it's 15. So that's about within range. And then we are now going to test the connection to the UDMSE. Oh, actually, that's not as high as I thought. Okay, I thought that would have been higher. But there we go. This is the first time I'm testing it up here. So 37, maybe 40 at a stretch, 39. And let's see what the upload is. About 10 or so. Oh, the internet speed, of course, is from the UDMSE to the internet, and now it's from my phone. Is that how it works? I think that's how it works. So we can see we have a 39 megabit and down and 7.6 up for connecting to the UDMSE from here. So not bad, not bad. I actually thought it'd be higher, but there you go. We are on Wi-Fi 6, and we are on 2.4 gigahertz, which we can see here. So 2.4 gigahertz, channel width 40 megahertz, which is what we saw before in the settings. And it's Wi-Fi 6 with a 2x2 MIMO, which is what that device has, 2x2 MIMO antenna. So two concurrent connections on 2.4 and 5. So you can see here that our Wi-Fi is fair, and it definitely is. It's fair. I am really far away. So that's a pretty good test. So that's the Wavlink AX3000 access point. A couple of comments, I think. Really easy to set up. I'm not sure I like that extra PoE adapter that you need. You can't just plug it in directly into a switch that provides PoE, PoE+, PoE++. You do need that extra adapter because of the 54 volt. A little bit clumsy, but okay, all right. If we need that extra voltage to get more distance, I guess, sure. Does it work with Unifi or any other existing mesh network? Kinda. If you do that hack with naming your SSID the same with the same password, your devices will roam to it when they need to and they find a stronger signal. It means you have slightly less visibility. Obviously, you can't manage that access point through Unifi and what's connected to it. You can't actually do that. In my case, it'll look like it's connected to the switch. Where the access point is connected to, so okay, fair enough. But you can, and it works reasonably well. It's not too bad. So it's a bit of a hack. Obviously, if you have more of the Wavlink devices, you can connect them together, get your own mesh network, but that wasn't really what I wanted to test. I wanted to see if I can get another access point on my Unifi network, and I kind of can. I'm going to leave it for a while and see how it performs and how it works. Obviously, I couldn't really test the IP67 rating. It looks like it is, like everything is really well sealed, so yeah, I'll take their word for it. And then of course the distance, it's far away. We are far away. Yes, it's line of sight, yes, we are up here, but that is omnidirectional. This is not a single directional antenna that's on there. There's 4 omnidirectional antennas, so it's not just this direction that gets it, it's the other way as well. So I can almost cover the whole farm with one access point. Not that I would, but maybe, yeah. It's impressive. Yeah, it is not the prettiest thing I've ever seen. It looks a bit clunky with those antennas, but you know, function over form, not form over function. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. This is quite reasonably priced. I can't remember what the price is. I looked last time, but that will be in the link down below. There might even be a bit of discount if you're interested in buying one of these Wavlinks with the link down below as well. And as always, if you got any questions, comments, whatever, put them down below in the comments. And if you are liking this content and want me to do more, click that subscribe button because that really helps out the channel. Or even maybe check out the merch because there's lots of that as well. So thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.